Going to find out of 18-year-old Natalee Holloway in Aruba before she vanished in 2005. Today, Vander Sloot actually pleaded guilty to extortion and wire fraud for trying to sell information about the location of Natalee Holloway's body.
Nearly 2 decades after Alabama teen Natalee Holloway vanished in Aruba, her mother learned for sure what she always suspected. Natalee was killed by Joran Vander Sloot, and today he finally revealed what happened all those years ago as part of a plea deal.
Just now, the world has been rocked by Joran Vander Sloot's stunning admission of murdering Natalee Holloway, almost 2 decades after she mysteriously disappeared. This revelation could finally shine a light on the dark corners of her unsolved case. Will this confession actually lead to justice, or will it just bring up more questions? Tune in as this story opens up again, making everyone wonder what else has been kept secret. The enduring mystery of Natalee Holloway. It's been nearly 20 years since she disappeared in Aruba, and the main suspect, Joran Vander Sloot, has finally admitted to eliminating her. According to court records, Vander Sloot, now 37 years old, has given a detailed account of what happened. He is expected to appear in court soon and will also admit to lying to her mother about where her body was in exchange for money. In return for a lighter sentence, Vander Sloot may reveal the actual location of her remains. But even without his confession, there is already a lot of evidence against him, such as emails where he talked with his father about getting rid of her body at sea. And this is just the start of many shocking developments in this story. Just as the world braced for Joran Vander Sloot's full confession, an anonymous tip led investigators to a remote beach in Aruba, where a hidden cave had recently been uncovered. But this isn't even the worst part. Before we go further into her tragic story, it's clear there are still many unanswered questions about Joran Vander Sloot. He has made many unverified claims about where her body might be and has even lied about his father's role in the case. His father passed away in 2010. This Wednesday, a court hearing in Birmingham could finally provide the answers her family has been desperately seeking for almost 20 years. She vanished during a trip to Aruba with her high school classmates in May 2005, shortly after she graduated. She and Vander Sloot were seen together, drinking and dancing at a bar the night she went missing. When the bar closed at 1 in the morning, she was last seen leaving with Vander Sloot and 2 brothers, Deepak and Satish Kalpoe. That was the last time anyone saw her alive, and her family has been searching for the truth ever since. Her disappearance quickly became a global news story, with reporters covering it live from Aruba. Her smiling face was everywhere on TV. Her story became a key feature on nightly news shows, leading to books, podcasts, and movies that kept people interested and made sure her name was never forgotten. In 2005, Joran Vander Sloot and the Kalpoe brothers were arrested, but were released soon after because there wasn't enough proof against them. They were taken into custody again in 2007, facing serious accusations related to her disappearance. The prosecutors in Aruba believed they were involved in harming her or were directly responsible for her death. However, despite these serious claims, a judge in Aruba later ordered Vander Sloot's release, saying there wasn't enough solid evidence. A little while after the initial investigation, the judge said there wasn't enough clear evidence to prove that she had met a violent end or that Vander Sloot had anything to do with it. As a result, the Kalpoe brothers were also released. This meant that none of the 3 were held responsible for her disappearance, leaving her family and friends without any answers or closure. As morning arrived, a critical day at court was about to reveal hidden truths, uncovering the secrets behind her disappearance. Meanwhile, Joran Vander Sloot found himself in more legal trouble as he tried to profit from her disappearance. He was charged with extortion and wire fraud for trying to sell information to her mother, Beth Holloway, about what happened to her daughter. Beth's lawyer, John Q. Kelly, said that Vander Sloot was likely to take a plea deal that would force him to reveal what really happened and where her remains might be found. This plea deal and the sentencing were scheduled to happen in a Birmingham court at 9:30 a.m., where Vander Sloot was expected to finally provide the long-awaited answers about her fate. This news came after many years of uncertainty and a tireless search for the truth by her loved ones. But this wasn't the worst part. Federal prosecutors claimed that Joran Vander Sloot tried to cheat her family out of $250,000. He allegedly demanded $25,000 up front, promising to reveal where her remains were, with the rest to be paid once her remains were found and confirmed. However, prosecutors believe Vander Sloot lied to Beth Holloway about the location of her daughter's remains. This alleged fraud took place between March 29, 2010 and May 17, 2010. During a preliminary hearing in June, Vander Sloot denied the extortion and wire fraud charges. He was brought to the United States from Peru, where he is already serving a sentence for the murder of a 21-year-old woman named Stephanie Flores. In Alabama, he faces federal charges for trying to profit from her disappearance. After many years, Vander Sloot's transfer to the U.S. marks a crucial step in the fight for justice for her family. Joran Vander Sloot was born in Arnhem, Netherlands, and grew up with two brothers. His father, Paulus, was a lawyer, and his mother, Anita, was an art teacher. When Joran was young, the family moved to Aruba, where he excelled academically at the international school. He was also a talented athlete, playing both soccer and tennis, even teaming up with his father in a doubles tennis tournament. Joran dreamed of playing tennis at St. Leo University, but alongside these achievements, there were darker sides to his personality. His mother described him as a compulsive liar who would often sneak out at night to visit casinos, showing signs of dishonesty and defiance from a young age. These traits grew worse over time, eventually leading to serious consequences. Joran's life took a dark turn, and he is now known for his criminal activities, including murder. But it didn't end there. In an interview with the Associated Press, Beth Holloway, her mother, shared that her family agreed to the plea deal in hopes it would finally answer the many questions they had. They were desperate to know the truth about what had happened to her, and this seemed like their best chance. As part of the agreement, Beth and her family were allowed to hear Vander Sloot recount the events that took place on the beach the night she disappeared. During the court session, Vander Sloot's lawyer prompted him, and he began to tell his version of that fateful night. The conversation was recorded, and parts of it were played in court by the prosecutors. Beth Holloway and her family listened closely to what Joran Vander Sloot had to say, hoping to finally learn what happened to her. But what they heard next was even more upsetting than they imagined. Joran Vander Sloot described in detail how she fought back when he made unwanted advances. She said it was incredibly hard to hear, but still better than the endless uncertainty about what had happened to her daughter. She felt some relief at finally getting the answers she had been looking for so long. Beth braced herself to face tough truths in the courtroom, the endless search for justice. Beth also felt proud when Vander Sloot talked about how her daughter had fought back, hitting him in the groin. Thinking of her strong spirit, Beth smiled and said, "That's her." She believed that her daughter's courage to defend herself led to her tragic death. Speaking to reporters, she expressed how proud she was of her bravery, even though it cost her life. Her father, Dave Holloway, called Vander Sloot utterly evil after hearing his confession. Dave thought Vander Sloot acted alone in hurting her, although others might have helped cover up the crime or hide her body. Despite many searches on land and sea, her body was never found. But this wasn't the only time Vander Sloot would face the law. He was arrested several times between 2005 and 2007 for his connection to her disappearance, but each time he was released due to a lack of evidence. Later, he confessed to eliminating her with a cinder-violent past. 5 years after she went missing in 2005, Vander Sloot moved to South America. This new chapter in his life would soon lead to another tragedy. On the 5th anniversary of her disappearance, the body of Stephanie Flores, a college student, was found in a hotel room in Lima, Peru, rented by Vander Sloot. Hotel staff discovered her body after he had checked out, leaving the room key and a running television behind. A tennis racket was found in the room, which police believed could have been the weapon used to eliminate her. The police investigation revealed that Vander Sloot and Stephanie had been together at a casino the night before her death. Security cameras showed them at a gaming table. Vander Sloot had traveled from Colombia to Peru on May 14, 2010, for a poker tournament. Once again, his violent actions had claimed another life, and the authorities were gathering evidence to bring him to justice. Stephanie Flores was a hardworking student, close to finishing her business degree at the University of Lima. She came from a well-known family in Peru. Her father, Ricardo Flores, was a respected figure due to his roles in business and politics. But Stephanie's bright future came to a sudden and tragic end, leaving her father heartbroken and desperate for answers. The investigation into her death revealed some shocking details. Her car was found far from the hotel where she had died, and inside, police discovered an illegal substance, suggesting she might have been substance-jed before her death. On top of that, many of her belongings like her jewelry, cash, ID, and credit cards were missing. Even the money she had won at a casino and some cash her father had given her for a new laptop were gone. Despite thorough searches by the police, none of this money was found in her car, leaving many questions unanswered. Stephanie's family quickly alerted the police to her disappearance. The authorities moved fast, checking the hotel's security footage and identifying Joran Vander Sloot as the last person seen with her. They also obtained his identification details. But this wasn't the most disturbing part. Just an hour before Stephanie's body was found, her sister-in-law happened to come across information online about Vander Sloot's notorious past. Eventually, Vander Sloot confessed to the crime, and in 2012, he was found guilty of murder and sentenced to 28 years in prison. His time behind bars was extended due to more crimes involving substance smuggling inside the prison. Amid confessions, questions about right and wrong emerged. Joran Vander Sloot's dark ploys. Then in 2014, while still serving his sentence, Vander Sloot married Lady Figueroa, a Peruvian woman who had been visiting him in prison. At the time, she was 7 months pregnant, and later she gave birth to their daughter in Peru. Yet even in prison, Vander Sloot continued to face legal trouble. In 2021, he was charged again for running a substance trafficking ring from within the prison, using creative methods like hiding cocaine in sugar beets to avoid detection. But his plan was discovered, and he was convicted of substance trafficking, which added more years to his sentence. But that's not all. The horrible crimes committed against her and Stephanie Flores led to Vander Sloot facing severe punishment in a U.S. court. Judge Anna Manasco sentenced him to 20 years for trying to extort money from her family and for committing wire fraud. She also recognized his confessions related to the deaths of 2 young women who had rejected his advances. He will serve his sentence in Peru before being sent to the U.S. to face more prison time, ensuring he stays locked up for a long time. This decision offers some comfort to the grieving families of the victims. In 2010, Joran Vander Sloot sent an email that has now become a key piece of evidence. In this email, he mentioned that he and his father, Paulus, went out on a boat just 2 days after she disappeared. He vaguely said that they took care of things, a phrase that seems quite suspicious given the circumstances. The email came from Vander Sloot's personal account and was sent to someone named David G. Recently, federal prosecutors obtained this email as they investigate Vander Sloot's involvement in her disappearance. The email suggests that Joran and his father might have been trying to cover up what really happened. The fact that they took a boat trip so soon after she vanished only makes things look more suspicious. What's more, this same email address was also used to contact her family. In one of these messages, Joran sent a short, strange note saying that he and another person took care of things and made it clear he wouldn't talk about it anymore. Over the years, Vander Sloot has given many different versions of what happened, but none of them have ever been proven true. For example, in 2010, he told the family lawyer that his father had hidden her body at a construction site, but no evidence was ever found to support this claim. It was just another one of his unconfirmed stories. But this wasn't the only time Joran Vander Sloot made headlines. In January 2008, he appeared on a Dutch talk show called Pauw en Witteman and got into a confrontation with crime journalist Peter de Vries. During the show, Vander Sloot lost his temper and threw a glass of red wine in de Vries's face, shocking the audience and showing how unpredictable he could be. The following month, de Vries released an undercover video on Dutch TV. The footage appeared to show Vander Sloot using marijuana and admitting he was present when she died. The video caused a huge uproar, drawing 7 million viewers in the Netherlands and becoming one of the most watched non-sporting events in the country's history. But this wasn't the worst part. Patrick van der Eem, working secretly with journalist Peter de Vries, managed to befriend Joran Vander Sloot, who had no idea he was being recorded. During their conversations, Vander Sloot confessed to van der Eem that she had a seizure while they were having intimate violence on the beach. He said he tried to revive her but failed, and then called a friend named Dory for help. According to Vander Sloot, Dory took her body onto a boat and dumped it in the ocean. Neither Vander Sloot nor Dory called for medical help or tried to save her. Although the video of his confession seemed very incriminating, Vander Sloot later claimed he made up the story to impress Vander Eem, whom he thought was a substance dealer. The prosecutor in Aruba considered the video as evidence, but it wasn't strong enough to lead to any arrests. While being honored, a deeper dive into darkness began, exposing the shadows of investigation. In September 2008, Peter de Vries was honored with a prestigious award in New York City for his investigative work on the disappearance. Her mother, Beth Holloway, was there to support him at the ceremony. De Vries's tireless reporting put a lot of pressure on Joran Vander Sloot, leading him to seek treatment at a psychiatric clinic. After his therapy, Vander Sloot left the Netherlands and moved to Thailand, hoping to start over. He settled in a Bangkok suburb and briefly attended a business program at Rangsit University. However, he soon left school to open a small restaurant near the campus called Sawadee Cup, serving simple dishes like sandwiches and pizzas. Even though he tried to escape the scrutiny he faced back home, his past continued to follow him everywhere. In November 2008, journalist Peter de Vries released shocking video footage showing Joran Vander Sloot's secret activities in Bangkok. The video revealed Vander Sloot arranging the sale of Thai women to European escort services. He reportedly made $13,000 for each woman he trafficked to the Netherlands. To avoid being caught by Thai police, he used the fake name Murphy Jenkins. This discovery increased the focus on Vander Sloot and led to a criminal investigation. The Peruvian Minister of Justice confirmed that Thailand was looking to charge him. Thai police were also investigating Vander Sloot's connection to the disappearance of several young women who were believed to have been recruited for escort services under the false promise of modeling jobs in Europe. At the same time, the disappearance was turned into a television movie in 2009 called Natalee Holloway, based on a book by her mother, Beth Holloway. The film, which showed Vander Sloot's alleged involvement in the case, became very popular, drawing the largest audience in the history of the Lifetime network. Although Vander Sloot disagreed with some parts of the movie, he admitted that certain details were accurate. After this, a follow-up movie titled Justice for Natalee Holloway was made, featuring Stephen Amell as Vander Sloot. Around this time, Vander Sloot was seen in Macau, playing high-stakes poker games. He even bragged about his poker skills on social media, mentioning a well-known poker strategy book as his favorite. In 2010, after the death of his father, Paulus, who had been questioned about the disappearance, Joran Vander Sloot returned to Aruba. The investigation had caused financial difficulties for the family, and although they initially won a wrongful arrest case, the decision was later reversed. Paulus found a job at the law firm that had represented him, trying to rebuild his life despite the many difficulties. Joran, in a dramatic interview in 2008 with Fox News, claimed he had sold her into intimate violent slavery and suggested that his father had bribed the police to cover up the crime. However, he later took back these statements, saying the recording played during the interview was fake. But this wasn't the end of his troubles. In 2010, U.S. authorities charged Vander Sloot with trying to sell false information about her location to her family, even though they had limited authority over him. This suggested he could face legal consequences in both the U.S. and Aruba. Meanwhile, Aruban prosecutors were determined to keep their investigation going, with the possibility of more charges if new evidence from the U.S. court came to light. Vander Sloot's complicated legal issues crossed multiple countries, keeping global attention on his actions and their impact on everyone involved, especially the Holloway family. The ongoing legal battles and investigations showed a relentless pursuit of justice for her, even as Vander Sloot faced a long prison term in Peru, with more legal challenges likely awaiting him in the U.S. and possibly Aruba. What do you think? Is the international pursuit of Vander Sloot justified, or does it reflect a deeper issue with global justice systems? Comment your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates.